And after the smoke clears and the years of mediocrity wear on, the Dolphins' brain trust was bought by Stephen Ross. And Greer's been in the fold forever. And they bring in the old sheriff and new sheriff in town, I should say, Brian Flores. And there's a new sheriff in town now, boys. He's doing things his way. And everybody better get on board or get on off the wagon, because we about to bring it. We about to bring it heavy. What will the brain trust do? That is the big question. And these guys make the decisions, and that's why they make the big bucks. They're in control.
Even if the plan is horrifying, if tomorrow I tell the press that like a gangbanger will get shot, or a truckload of soldiers will be blown up, nobody panics, because it's all part of the plan. But when I say that one little old mare will die, well, then everyone loses their minds. Introduce a little anarchy. Upset the established order, and everything becomes chaos.
Yup. What is the plan? That is going to be what this is about. They make the decisions. My 3 keys for going through this video, though, will be, you'll see I'll have starters, then depth pieces, and then guys who I think are going to be on the bubble. That's how it's going to roll. That's how I'm going to roll this video out, at least. We'll go through and talk about the unrestricted free agents and restricted free agents and exclusive right free agents, which we don't have. No restricted means we have rights for them first, and exclusive means we have exclusive rights on them first, and unrestricted means anybody can get them. Then there's also the futures contracts that are on here, and these people have already been signed to futures contracts. Some of the guys that are on the developmental practice squad are the futures contracts that I'm talking about. Let's jump into it right here. Starter Daniel Kilgore, in my opinion, is on his last leg, and we could definitely use another center here. Even if they wanted to slide in Deaver into this spot, I wouldn't mind. And you get into somebody here who's an exclusive rights free agent, is Evan Boham. I think they'll bring him back, and he can add quality depth to our offensive line. He's not too bad. He has some game. He can play a little bit. And you get into another guy here, this Evan Brown, who's on the bubble, but he's also another exclusive rights free agent who the Dolphins must have thought something of. They brought him in last year maybe to help shore up a lot of injuries too, so he could be the guy who can just be tossed aside, possibly. And Keaton Sutherland came in and played a couple games, but he's also another bubble guy. Who knows what's going to happen with Keaton Sutherland? Your guess is as good as mine. That's why he's a bubble guy. And here's Michael Deaver, the starter from last year, the rookie draft pick. He will probably show a lot of improvement going from year 1 to 2. We're not in as bad shape as a lot of people may think. The offensive line is, it's a little shaky, but we'll move on and keep going. We'll get better, you guys watch. Jesse Davis, he's the guard/tackle starter, and in my opinion would be nice to get another starter over there and move him back into for depth to give us more quality depth when things get hairy. Shaq Calhoun, when we got him last year as an undrafted free agent, he came in and played good and probably will improve from year 1 to 2 as well, along with Michael Deaver. We need to add more quality pieces to our offensive line, and then drop the dead weight. Here's a guy who I don't know will stick or not, but Julian Davenport, we got in the trade when we traded Tunsil, King Tunsil, yeah, we'll see if this guy can even factor into the starting lineup at all coming into training camp. Moving on, we got Danny Isidora. He got hurt last year, could provide some good depth at the guard and center position if they decide to keep him aboard. We'll see where they go in free agency and also into the draft. Adam Pankey. He's definitely a bubble tackle. They came in, I think, last year and brought him in just to add depth. Unless they see something else in this kid, which I'm not sure what they see, he'll probably be cut. Moving on, you got Jamarcus Webb. He's on the bubble as well. He came in and filled in a good role at tackle, but I think they'll be bringing in some veteran tackle help, hopefully, and get some help there at tackle for us. Then you move into some of the future contracts, which you go Neto. I think I've been hearing a little bit of talk about they switched him over to defensive end, so he's probably playing a little bit of defense, and he can play offense, obviously, for us. We'll find out. Chidi Okeke has some pretty good college tape going back. I like him as a prospect. He has a future in the NFL if he can fall in correctly. We'll see if we can develop him correctly. Then you get into the tight ends here, like Durham Smythe. He'll fall in as a tight end depth for us. I don't see too much meat on the bone. I guess he can catch a little bit. We'll find out. Then you got newly acquired Michael Roberts. We'll see what he can really bring. He's a bubble guy, depth guy. Maybe we'll see if he's healthy and if he can contribute at all. We'll find out right away, I guess, going into camp with this one. The tight end position's a tricky one, but if we didn't bring in Roberts, it would have been someone else drafted or something. Last year we picked up this guy here on the futures contract, Chris Myrick. He had pretty good preseason and whatnot, and then they redshirted him all year. He didn't see too many snaps at all during the regular season. He's seen none. Chandler Cox, here's our fullback. Let's get into some fullback talk. He'll be our starter. He'll go into the starter category. I would expect to see some improvement from Chandler Cox from year 1 to 2. He'll be better. Getting into the running backs, here's a guy who no one really likes, but he is your projected starter going into the 2020 season. He didn't get too many holes to run through, and he didn't do himself any favors. Had a lot of lapses out there on the field, but I think he's going to have a bounce-back season. I look for better things from Ballage. Here's a guy I really like. Yeah, Patrick Laird. Fire depth. Excuse me. This guy's got a little bit of Christian McCaffrey, I think, to him. He's got some wiggle. Very elusive. He can pass, catch, run, block, and he can carry the rock. He can carry the football around. He's pretty good. I think he's underrated and deserves a shot. We'll see. Here's a guy I really liked coming out last year when we got him in the 7th round, Myles Gaskin. He's got some moves. He can rush real nice, and he can catch out of the backfield. Very versatile player. Too bad he got hurt. I think there's more meat on the bone with that player. Here's the guy I really think's going to get a chance if we give it to him. This guy, DeLance Turner, man, he's got some very good agility, good feet, quick, low center gravity, pretty fast. I think deserves a shot. We'll see if he comes into camp ready to roll. Here's a shot of it I had right here where he actually gets away from one guy and then makes another guy miss. This DeLance Turner, is real good at making the first guy miss, and then he's always going forward. I think this guy's going to cause some noise coming into camp with the running back situation and make us make some moves with our roster because of it. I have confidence that they'll give him a chance too if he shows out. We'll see. Samaje Perine, his one right here is on the bubble. He's a restricted free agent for us. He came in, had a couple games for us. That's about it. His college career looked pretty damn good, though. He had some really good film out there. We'll see what happens with that moving forward. Getting into the wideouts, yeah. Devontae Parker had a great year last year. Let's see if he can do it again and be that fire starter that we need. It's a prove-it year. Let's see if he can really do it. It's worth that contract. He'll Probably end up earning himself another one with the Dolphins. We'll see. Here's the guy that I'm really interested to see what happens from year 1 to year 2 with Preston Williams. He's a good player. I think there's a lot more he'll be able to improve on. Let's just hope he comes back completely healthy from his injury. That's the one thing I'm concerned about, but I think he'll be ready to go. And you got Allen Hurns. He's kind of the incumbent starter right here. He does a lot of things well and gets the knock because he's not Devontae Parker, but it doesn't really matter. This guy can do a lot for you. We'll see what he can bring to the table, and there'll be a battle for that third spot. And this is a guy I consider a wide receiver. He's got a really big roof that he can get to. This guy's ceiling is high. I think he could be really great if we can turn him into that. Fitzpatrick and him have a real good rapport. I think we'll see a big jump in Gesicki's production next year. Here's Wilson, gonna be fired depth if they decide to keep him. He'll have to restructure, I think, and be completely healthy. He'll get pushed also probably for his position. But it'd be nice to have him back to full production. Mccain also fired depth and our return specialist. Obviously would have to be fully healthy again too. Was hurt last year coming off IR. But missed those good old days when these two were fully healthy and contributing more. Good old days. And Mccain and Wilson running down the field together, giving high fives. Let's continue on with the rest of the wide receiver core. Isaiah Ford would be great depth, fire depth. He's an exclusive rights free agent, so we'll have first crack at him. I'm predicting he will stick around and probably take snaps away from Wilson and Grant. There's a lot of wide receivers depth here. People say we don't have a lot of weapons. I disagree. Here's Matt Collins. Obviously, he was brought in for purposes last year due to injuries. He's probably on the bubble and probably on his way out. We probably won't need him. Gary Jennings. He was a former fourth-round pick of the Seahawks 2 years ago. He will push for roster time versus Ford and Wilson and Grant. He will be on the bubble. He does have some good skills, though. Real clean in and out of his breaks. Real smooth athlete. Great hands. Good after the catch. Here's Terry Wright. He's a player out of Purdue. Big-time bubble guy, though. Or actually, this is a futures contract player right here. Excuse me. Futures contract for Wright. TJ Ramming, that's who this is as well. He's also on a futures contract. So he'll be dealt with probably on practice squad level type of a thing. He's got some good skill set to him as well. Good yards after the catch guy. Ricardo Lewis was just signed to a brand new deal. I think they're trying to do with Ricardo Lewis what they did with Devontae Parker last year, like kind of prove it that you are back to your full production. This is also Ricardo Lewis when he was with the Browns. Another picture of Ricardo. He's on the bubble, but he does have a really good set of skills to him. Great guy to stretch the defense out. Can catch real well. Pretty good with yards after the catch. Pretty fast. Here's a guy who's on a futures contract as well, which was Andy Jones. We had him picked up last year. I think it was about week 6 or 7, and he went on to the practice squad. So this is a guy who's been tossed around Cowboys, Detroit, now Miami. All right, to the big boys, fire starter, Ryan Fitzpatrick, the old man, the omen. Boy, he played good to the end of the season last year, and I would go to war with this guy, and I think the rest of our team would say the same. This guy right here should be the starter bearing anything crazy. And by meaning anything crazy, I mean like something like Josh Rosen taking his job. I know we're probably going to bring in a rookie quarterback to compete, but we don't know if that guy's going to start or not. He's going to have to earn the job. The best man's going to win the quarterback job. I guarantee that. But Josh Rosen has a lot of skills, and a lot of people are talking bad on his game, but I think he's out to make a lot of meat crow this year. He'll be a year better. He's got a chance. Jake Ruddick. This is a guy who was already re-signed to a futures deal to be the practice squad guy. We'll see what happens with him. I mean, you never know. We could dust through a bunch of quarterbacks and he could be starting. I doubt it. Here's a guy that's maybe going to be drafted number 1 overall. A lot of talk that the Dolphins really do like Joe Burrow. And I would trade up to get Joe Burrow myself. I think he's got the moxie and the poise to play the position. He does a lot of things right. Not just passing, but he makes a lot of right decisions, pulls it down and runs it if he has to, or throws it away. And here's the consensus pick that everybody wants to see go to Miami. And they'll probably have to trade up for him. And this guy is legit. Everybody knows that. He's pretty much like a left-handed Drew Brees. Very accurate, good arm, good progressions through his reads. The most impressive part about his game is his pocket maneuverability. He can escape out of the pocket and make a play in an instant. That's attractive. Very attractive to the Dolphins and to myself personally as well. All right, let's go to the defensive side. We'll start with the defensive line. Devon Godshaw is a starter, fire starter. This guy right here is due for a new contract, and I'm sure we'll get it here real quick. He's going to improve going into the next year as well. Another year in the same defensive system under his belt looked good for us. Christian Wilkins, he'll be looking a lot more improved too coming into year 2 of his rookie season last year. He did a lot of good things. He got accustomed to the game speed and what kind of play strength he's going to have to play at and his conditioning level and all of that good stuff. But I think we'll see a big jump from Christian Wilkins in year 2 from year 1. Should be much improved. And then you get into more depth guys. Christian Wilkins was a starter. But Avery Moss, former Rutgers player, played for the Giants too. Good depth here. I'm not sure if they'll keep him around, but he's already on the roster, so he's there now unless somebody takes his position from him. But he's got strong hands at the point of attack and can pass rush a little bit. Here's a guy I really like, Zach Seiler. Yeah, they need to re-sign this boy immediately. Fire depth. Really brought a lot in the last couple games. I've seen almost looked unblockable at times. Went to Ferris State, which is like a no-name college, really. But he's producing at this point in his career, for me at least. He looks great. We need to get him in there and get him reps, develop him more. I would be really sad if they don't bring this guy back, but I guarantee you they will. They're not dumb. They see what I saw, too. So here's a guy who's on the bubble, Jared Willis III. More of a 1-techie, but can play some 3-tech as well. Former Miami Hurricane, was on the practice squad last year. I know we brought him in about week 7, somewhere in the mid-range. But he'll be on the bubble this year, fighting for a job. John Jenkins came in and played great for us last year after we brought him in as I think a free agent. He is an unrestricted free agent again this year. He could really help us out, fill that 1-tech role that we are missing. We don't have a lot of 1-techie guys right now. We could definitely use that traditional nose tackle. And he could do that, and he can play some 3-tech. We'll see. And here's Taco Charlton. Good depth out there off the 3-tech. I know he likes to be more on the left side. I guarantee you he's still on the roster now unless somebody beats him out. Same situation with Avery Moss. He probably has a place on this roster. carrying on, Jonathan Ledbetter was an undrafted free agent last year. Very, very underrated, good player here. Fire depth, can bring a level of passion and intense that we could use on our defensive line. He's very intense, great run defender, give you a little bit of pass rush too. He should push for playing time. The consensus bust, Charles Harris, everybody's favorite guy to hate on. You never know, he could have the light pop on and make the roster, but I highly doubt he does anything with what he has here. He's pretty much probably going to get cut. Trent Harris, he's on the bubble, but he's got a lot of ability. That's why I got the fire mark right there next to his bubble. I think he could help push the outside linebackers, whoever they decide to keep or bring in. I guarantee you they're going to bring in more. But he's got some game, some speed rush. Needs to develop some more moves as well. Another player right here that's going to be on the bubble, James Crawford. They brought him in last year and got hurt and had to put him on IR. But I went and looked at his tape last year after we got him. Seen a lot of good things that I liked about this kid. He can cover and he can blitz with a little bit of polish. Some of these guys will have to develop more polished pass rush as they get into the league. Here's a Vince Biegel. We definitely need to re-sign Vince. He's a restricted free agent. He can play pretty much any of those linebacker positions, and he's a great pass rusher. He can flip and twist his hips in an instant and get parallel to the sideline, and he understands the nuances of pass rushing. He can string together some moves pretty good. He's very underrated for his size, and he's a great part of this team. Love to have him back. AVG, this is great depth right here. Helps us out from a lot of different standpoints, from coverage standpoints, out in the flats and up the seam, to run-stopping linebacker who has some pass rush to him as well. He's got some get skinny to him, and not as a refined pass rusher as we'd like, though. But he's working on it. So here's Sam the Slug Igovawan. He played pretty well last year for us at that outside linebacker position, a situational pass rusher. Excuse me. They'd bring him in on third down a lot and blitz him. He did pretty good. So at this point, he'll be the starter until somebody takes his spot out there at outside linebacker. Jerome Baker. Now, this dude had a great season. He's going to get better and better, and I hope he does. The one thing he needs to get better at is at the point of attack. He needs stronger hands, and he needs to shed faster. So he stacks up real good, but he just needs to shed and not get caught up on blocks as much. I would love that. Then he'd be the ultimate linebacker. Quan McMillan. He would be a starter, more of a 2-down linebacker than a 3-down linebacker, but he could see himself into a role of being on the field for more downs and on third downs if he can show that he can play off-ball a little bit, off-ball linebacker and cover running backs. We'll see moving forward. Here's a guy who's a exclusive rights restricted free agent, Thurman Munson, more of an inside linebacker in between the tackles type of a guy here. Came in and played some games for us and didn't play too damn bad. We'll see if they decide to bring him back. Deon Lacy, this is another restricted free agent I decided to put on the list just to give a little quick talk about a great special teams guy. We'll see if they decide to bring him back, but he is restricted. Excuse me. One of my favorites, Jamal Davis. He is an exclusive rights free agent. I think he can make a lot of noise. Former Akron product. We got him last year. I think we poached him off of a practice squad and then redshirted him. But he's got some pass rush to his game as an outside linebacker. So this dude will factor in, I think, to making a roster spot. Here's Terrell Hanks. I liked his game too. Out of New Mexico State last year, was an undrafted free agent for us. Came on, showed some flashes. Then they put him on the practice squad. He'll be 1 year even better coming back for this year. So he could factor into helping out the linebackers. Here's a kid I won't give up on, Chase Allen. This kid's tape, when we first got him, checked out so nice. He's a restricted free agent. He's got a lot of intangibles that I like, and wouldn't doubt if he stuck around again, he can supply special teams and a lot of different areas. Hopefully he's fully recovered from his injury. Here's a futures contract player right here, Jake Carlock. I don't know too much about this guy other than that he really does like to play some football. There's not a lot of film on him out there, but the word on the street is and around the league is that this dude is a gritty football player who likes to tackle and plays with aggression. I think we could see someone like this try to be developed in our organization. Get into some of these safeties here. Here's Adrian Colbert. They're talking about bringing him back. I think he's a restricted free agent. Played safety. A thumper, more of a thumper than a center fielder, but can play a little bit of both. He has some versatility, some flexibility. Stephen Parker, we brought him in last year. He's good depth. He's on the roster currently, and will fight for more playing time for next season. He's got some versatility and can play some center field, and he can play some box safety. A quick, twitchy athlete with good hands. Not too bad. Yeah, Eric Rowe came into his own last season, I think. When they switched him out to safety, he really took onto that role well. He can shut down tight ends. He can do a lot of things well, tackle well. He's very physical, kind of like everything I think Brian Flores wants, and almost all of his deep backs is they got to kind of play like Eric Rowe, be able to tackle and cover. I'm going to still keep this on here, but Rashad Jones will be set to release, and that's why he was on the bubble anyway. And they're going to release this player, but he brought a lot to our team for a lot of years, but he's got a high contract that we just don't need no more, and he will be released. Montre Hartage. He's also a exclusive rights free agent. He was an undrafted free agent from last year from Northwestern, who came in and played a couple games for us here and there, and mostly was on the practice squad. So we got a lot of experience there too for him. Xavier, he's our starter corner. Hopefully he's fully healthy and recovered from last year, and he did go on IR and has some injury knocks to him, but he's one of the better cornerbacks in the NFL when fully healthy. We'll see what he does if he gets suspended from the NFL as well from his off-the-field problems. But on the field, this guy's a stud, and we need to build off of that. And here's a dude that we need to just go ahead and make a coach. It's Aqib Talib. We got him in the trade from the Rams with something we did. I forgot the deal right now at this point. But I think he'll obviously be cut and let go. Maybe they'll bring him back in some sort of capacity to play coach, though. We'll see, to help us out from a coaching standpoint. I mean, here we go. My boy, Nick Needham, has some really nice feet. Really impressed me last year with his feet, and then coming from the practice squad and fully developing, getting all the way into the playing time that he did. And it's very impressive. Very impressed with this kid. He did a good job. He's a sticky corner, very feisty, can run with guys, can tackle, physical, got position flexibility as well. Bobby McCain. Bobby McCain didn't do too bad last year. I mean, he did have to switch positions and go play some safety. And it really probably would benefit us to pull him back down and put him in the slot again. If we can get a free safety that plays center field, we will be bringing Bobby back into the slot. But it's always nice to have these guys who can do multiple things, and we have a lot of them. Jamal Wilts, let's bring some good depth on this guy as well. He can do a little bit of everything, and he can tackle, I'll tell you that. His coverage is a little suspect, but maybe he can sharpen that up. This is a guy I really like. Nate Brooks played great last year for us down the stretch. He's an exclusive rights free agent. We need to bring this guy back immediately. Him and Seiler, these guys, you don't want to let these guys go. You want to bring these players back. He could really help us out. Real sticky, long-armed corner with great skills. Got to bring him back. And here's another one we brought on late that's pretty damn good. That Tey Hayes. He played well too down the stretch. He's on the roster currently, so I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon unless they decide they're going to go a different direction. He's pretty good. Played good down the stretch for us as well in those last couple games. This is Ryan Lewis. This would be depth here, and someone who will probably push him for his playing time as well, unless he steps it up and plays a little bit better. Because those other two guys, Brooks and Hayes, played a little bit better than Lewis did. I think he got hurt and we had to put him on IR, in fact. Moving on. Is that Ken Webster. Now, this guy I thought had a good look to him, too. Passed that eye test. And actually does have some skills. He can tackle. He can do a lot of things. Play some special teams for you. I like Webster, and I think he'll push to be brought back and get some snaps on this team. And here's Cordrea Tankersley. He's obviously still on the roster, and he's going to be a bubble guy that he's going to have to prove himself that he's ready to play football. We'll see. Losing that year didn't help this guy, but we'll see if he can make a comeback or not. And here's an unrestricted free agent. So we're going to have to make a decision on whether we want to bring back Walt Aikens. Meant a lot to this city and town, and great special teams player, I'll tell you that. Here's a guy we got last year. He's an exclusive rights free agent. That's on the bubble, Lyndon Stevens. Don't know too much about him. I know he went to school at Cincinnati, and go need to hit the film room on that kid. Here's Rashad Kazi. Signed a futures contract with us this year. Was brought in last year off of Denver's practice squad. Him and that Lyndon Stevens, I think both were from Denver. Get into your special teams. Matt Hack, our punter. Not too bad. I think they talked about signing a new deal with him. They need to re-sign Sanders too. Speaking of, here, our good kicker. He had an off season last year, missed some kicks here or there, but I'm sure he'll bounce back and have a great season. He's a good kicker. And he gets into my last guy, which is an exclusive rights free agent. We brought him in last year when we cut John Denny. That's Pepper, and they'll bring him back.